Hey everybody, welcome back to Did I Do That? This is episode 4 where we finally get to lay some deck boards on the deck that we've been working on all summer. The first step before we could lay deck boards was to put our posts in so that our rails would be ready to go. We wanted the posts to be in first so that we could cut the deck boards around them, so once we got the post sleeves and the skirts, it covered everything up very nicely and that there were no gaps. So as you can see here, we've got our posts in preparation for the railing. It's going to be two 8-foot sections of railing, and we went ahead and put on some blocking here on the front. This is going to help us when we mount that outside deck board, as well as later on when we do the facade piece that's going to cover this up and make it look nice and clean. Once the posts were installed, it was time to finally start laying deck boards. We decided to go with a picture frame design, which meant we had to put deck boards on the outside of the deck before we could do the interior boards. We chose to get the 8-foot square boards for the outside because they don't have to be attached with the hidden fasteners. We just attach these with screws and we'll plug those later with the Trex pellets. We went with the Trex composite boards in the saddle color, and as I mentioned, the square boards were 8-foot, and then the interior boards we got in 12-foot boards with the grooved part because we attached those with the hidden fasteners. Alright, so to show you guys what we did here, this is the part of the deck that's going to angle out, so this cut was a little bit difficult, so what we had to do was take the angle of this board and divide it in half, just like on a 45, like over here. It's a 90-degree angle, so you have to cut it at 2 45s to make it come together. Well, this came out at 20 degrees, which meant we had to have two 10-degree cuts. Then we had to notch out for the post. So what we did is we used a piece of scrap from one of the boards we've already cut, got the notch exactly how we wanted it to be, and then we're going to trace that on to our actual board and go ahead and cut it. We followed the exact same steps for the next board, and then it was time to attach the last picture frame piece. After finishing up the picture frame, it was time to start laying deck boards. All there was to do here was measure how long it needed to be, cut it, and then attach it with the hidden fasteners. It's important to remember with these Trex boards that you need to have at least an 1/8 inch gap on each end to allow it to expand and contract with temperature. This just ensures that as the deck ages, you're not going to have any issues with deck boards trying to pop up. Once we established our routine, we were able to fly through this smaller section. We bought the 12-foot boards, which turned out really nicely in this area because we were able to use one board for 2 sections. Once we finished the smaller section, it was time for us to make the cut around this post. We knew we could make the deck smaller so that we didn't have to worry about this post, but at the end of the day, it was too much deck space to sacrifice, so we just made the cut around it. It was pretty late, so it was time to call it a night and get started the next day. Now it was time for us to start working on the biggest section of the deck. Alright, so as we're coming along here, you can see that we finally finished the big section of the deck, and we are now angling back. You can see how we have been able to cut around the post very nicely. The post sleeve will go over top of that when we do the rails, and we're angling these boards on the end so it matches up nicely. Just a quick thing about these hidden fasteners. They tend to work a little bit better if once you, like this board right here, once you slide it up against this one and it's tight and everything's good, go ahead and put your fasteners on the other side of that board before you tighten these. So that way when you do tighten these, there's no give whatsoever because you've already blocked it in on the other side. We found that's worked best for us, and it's allowed us to make the most amount of progress. And as you can see, we are nearing the end. So as you can see, we just put this board down and we put it up against the board that was put down previously, and then we're going along adding in the hidden fasteners on the other side to hold it in place, and then we'll come back behind and tighten those down on the inside. Here's an idea of what the deck was looking like before we finished out the last section, and before too long we were done with the deck. We finally finished laying the deck boards on this long project that we've been working on all summer, and we're so happy with the outcome. We got the post sleeves and the post skirts and went ahead and threw those on there just to protect everyone from getting any splinters or anything like that. And hopefully we'll be getting the rails very soon. We'll be attaching those in the next video, and we'll also be covering all of the pipes and wiring that's up against the house, in addition to adding on our fascia board and any other final touches. Thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.